Hello, children. Welcome back to our English class. In the last class, we had come across Tishani Doshi's view on the conservation of smaller organisms. That is, the conservation should start at grassroots level. That is what she says. And in the journey to the end of the earth, that is the portion that you are studying, that is the story that you are studying. In that, she gives you the example of phytoplanktons. Phytoplanktons are the smallest unit in the food chain in the oceans, in the marine life. Okay, so if phytoplanktons, I think you remember I told you about it. They are algae in the water, in the ocean, and smaller organisms feed on them, and then fishes feed on those smaller organisms, and then the food chain goes on. So if phytoplanktons are conserved, if conservation of phytoplanktons take place, then the marine life would be very safe. And if phytoplanktons disappear or destruction happens to phytoplanktons, the whole marine life would be disrupted. So this is her viewpoint, and last class we talked about it. Okay, today children we are going to take up page 22, that is walk on the ocean. Have you ever thought about walking on the ocean or water bodies? Have you ever thought about it? Is it possible? We don't know. It's something liquidy, and how can we just walk on something that is liquid? What if it's becomes solid, frozen? Then can we walk on it? Yes, definitely we can walk on a frozen surface. Okay, it's frozen water. And in Antarctica, you have majority of the ocean and water bodies frozen. So walking on the ocean, that is walking on the frozen ocean, that is what she means, what she felt, her realizations, her feelings. All these are talked about in Walk on the Ocean. Shall we start? Yes. My Antarctic experience was full of such epiphanies. Epiphanies? A new realization that it is something divine. Divine? जिसमें भगवान का अंश हो, जैसे कि बहुत समथिंग आउट ऑफ दिस वर्ल्ड, ओके, जो इस दुनिया का ही ना हो, ऐसा लगता है. Okay, epiphanies. So my Antarctic experience was full of such epiphanies, but the best occurred just short of the Antarctic Circle at 65.55 degrees south. So she had many realizations that it is divine, it's something out of this world and everything, but the best realization occurred just short means just before the Antarctic Circle. Antarctic Circle is 66 degree, but here it started at 65.55 degree south. That is when she started realizing something great. The Shokolaski, what is Shokolaski? Yes, the academic vessel, the ship that carried the children to Antarctica. Okay. The Shokolaski had managed to wedge herself into a thick white stretch of ice between the peninsula and the Tadpole Island, which was preventing us from going any further. So, wedged herself means forcing itself into a piece or into a mass. Okay, so here the Shokolaski had forced itself or stuck itself in huge ice masses between Peninsula and Tadpole Island. The shape of the island is something like a tadpole. I hope you know what tadpole is. Okay, and due to this huge ice mass into which the Sokolowski had been forced into, Okay, due to this, they could not move further on this vessel. Now they had to go down the vessel and walk. Okay, that was another new experience for whom? Tishani Doshi. The captain decided we were going to turn around and head back north. But before we did, we were all instructed to climb down the gangplank and walk on the ocean. So, captain of the ship, he decided that we are going to turn around and head towards the north, not going more further, we are going back towards the north. Okay, and before that, they decided that they should climb down the gangplank. Gangplank, it's a movable plank or a piece of wood, okay, and that is used by the passengers to board the ship or the boat, because ship is of huge size. So gangplank, nowadays you have that step kind of thing, okay, to climb up to the ship, and it's movable. Even in airplanes we have that. Okay, so actually gangplank is a wooden piece, okay, that is wooden plank, and that is used generally to climb a ship. So this gangplank, they thought of climbing down the gangplank and walk on the ocean before returning back. So there we were, all 52 of us. So how many were there in the group? 52. Okay, all of them came down, climbed down the gangplank, came down the ship, and started walking. Knitted out in Gore-Tex and glares, walking on a stark whiteness that seemed to spread out forever. Okay, so they all were knitted. Knitted means they all were wrapped in cloth. Okay, and this cloth was actually made of waterproof material, fabric. Okay, and air circulation also could happen in the fabric. Suppose some, you know what, when you walk on ice, when you walk on a frozen water body, some surfaces are not that hard. Okay, they are thin ice, you call them. Okay, and if you step on it, you might go down into the water. Okay, down the water might be means liquid. Okay, it might not have solidified. So here she is saying that they had, and maybe that is the reason why they were wearing those Gore-Tex, that is waterproof, breathable fabric. Okay, the cloth made of waterproof, breathable fabric. And then they were walking in a fierce way, and walking on a stark whiteness, severe, very, very white. Okay, very, very white, and that seemed to spread out forever. Spread out forever means everywhere, wherever your eyes reaches, it's only white eyes and eyes and eyes, nothing else. Okay, so that is why here she is saying that walking on a stark whiteness that seemed to spread out forever. Underneath our foot was a meter thick ice pack, and underneath that 180 meters of living, breathing salt water. Okay, so what was the thickness of the ice on top of the water? It was meters thick. Okay, and that's why they were able to walk on it. And then under the thick ice pack, what did they have? They had 180 meters of saline water which had some aquatic life in it. That's why living, breathing. Okay, it's not that all the living organisms could live, marine life could survive in Antarctica. No, there might have been some organisms, or that there would be some organisms that might survive in this particular extreme climate of Antarctica. Okay. In the periphery, crab beater, seals, crab eater seals were stretching, and periphery means on the in the boundary. Okay, boundary. Crab eater seals. Seals are a kind of animal. They are, and these kind of seals are known as crab eater seals. It's a species of seals. Were stretching and sunning themselves. Sunning themselves, taking up as much as sunlight as heat of the sun as possible. On the ice floes. Ice floes are floating piece of ice. Okay, so they were lying on that ice, floating ice, and they were stretching out themselves and taking in as much as sun energy as possible. Much like stray dogs will do under the shade of a banyan tree. Yes, that is the best example you can give. Here on the roadsides and all, you must have seen stray dogs lying, taking rest, stretching themselves out properly. Similarly, these the seals, crab eater seals, they were also stretching in the same way. It was not a sort of revelation. Everything does indeed connecting. It was nothing short of revelation. It was not something that was just imaginary. It was a new realization for her that everything does indeed connect with each other. It's not that Antarctica is isolated, there is only ice on it, and so we need not talk about it. No. But even Antarctica has an effect on our continents, on the land masses where we live. Everything is interconnected, life in Antarctica and life here. 9 time zones, 6 checkpoints, 3 water bodies, and many ecospheres. Later, I was still wondering about the beauty of balance in play on our planet. So, in spite of such a distance from where we live, in spite of that, Tishani Doshi was continuously thinking with wonder that how God has made, or how how this balance has been working out on earth. Okay, balance in the beauty. One, you have extreme cold. In between, you have everything very mild climate. Extreme climates are there. We are surviving here. Everything is happening. But just look at how everything is balanced. This is what she thinks. How would it be if Antarctica were to become the warm place that it once used to be? What will happen if Antarctica becomes a warm place like it used to be long back? Very dangerous question, isn't it? Will we be around to see it, or would we have to have gone the way the dinosaurs, mammoths, woolly rhinos? Who's to say? So she's saying that will we be there if suppose such a thing happens? Will we be there on the earth? That is human beings, not just we human beings, but will human species be there on this earth? Or would we become extinct like the dinosaurs, mammoths, and woolly rhinos? Woolly rhinos, rhinoceros, a species of rhinoceros that used to exist long back. Now it's extinct. It has 2 horns and a furry kind of body. Okay, who's to say? Who knows? But after spending 2 weeks with a bunch of teenagers who still have the idealism to save the world, all I can say is that a lot can happen in million years. But what a difference a day makes. So, she says that after spending so many weeks with a group of teenagers, that is students, okay, who still have that idea, that concept that they have to save the earth. All these might happen in millions of years, but can any difference be made in a day? Yes. The answer is yes. The difference can be made. Okay, children, we'll stop here. Please go through the lesson. We'll come back tomorrow and then discuss about a few long answer questions and then finish off with the chapter. Thank you. Have a good day.